All right. Okay. Which brings us. I don't even know if we should really be doing this on this show, but
that's fun. It's all fun.
Yeah. We have actually a wonderful artist here, Smooth Manny, the Colombian, who has been here on the show in the past, and he actually went to school and studied art. He's a wonderful painter, and he's actually he moonlights as a police sketch artist. And so now it's time for Smooth Manny, the police sketch artist. All right, Smooth Manny is here. We'll need him to adjust them. And Quarter Black Gare's going to go over there and turn off the monitor so that Smooth Manny cannot see the picture.
Got to be careful.
So Smooth Manny, tell people a little bit, for people who don't know, we've done this before. You went to school for art.
I did go to
Hold on a second. Look, we can't hear him. Get his mic there, up there. Let me see. Can we hear you?
Hey.
Okay,
there we go.
You went to school for what?
It was a Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Oh.
And I studied computer animation, but I learned art along the way.
Isn't that bachelor's?
Whatever
I think
it is.
so. It is an S.
So you know he's foreign.
Yes.
He's going for a fine art bachelor.
Might be added.
Hey, wait. Yeah, that's true. You're foreign, so you're okay with our Sheila Jackson Lee bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. There you go. We're fine.
As long as the guy who looks white doesn't mind.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You really don't want any job security, do you, Dave?
He's just like, going out on top, baby.
And you moonlight as a police sketch artist.
Yes. This is my side job.
This is your side job, and it's a lucrative career.
You know, nowadays there's security camera footage.
Right.
So
I always wondered that. You know, like if Christopher Walken, was out of work, that there are no more dead zones. You know, I mean, they're not necessarily. They don't need the psychic in the gazebo to figure it out when you've got Simply Safe.
They're just lining up like, can I help? No, we've got cameras.
Right.
We're good.
We got it.
So we are going to describe for you a recent criminal, an outline criminal, and you are going to sketch it for us. I don't even know why we do this.
Why not?
Okay, just so you can see the process, every now and then.
Yeah.
So let's show, for people watching, we're going to be taking your chat here at MugClub, but this is the person. That's okay. I am seeing that for the first time. Wow, that is who I hear. You know what, Dave? Come over here.
Should I come over there?
Yeah, come over here. No, just here so you can see it, because you can just really quickly hold it up so that Dave Landau can come around and see what I have to get Smooth Manny to draw. Wonderful.
So I'm going to start with a circle.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? It's a little more angular.
What do you mean angular?
I mean, some people have, like oval faces, and some people have more chiseled features, and some people have really chiseled features.
So
chiseled, almost as though they were actually placed there with a chisel.
Yes.
So chiseled like a very manly jaw, or like
I wouldn't say that.
No.
No, not manly.
Cheekbones?
I would say a chiseled.
Cheekbones.
Chiseled, angular. Definitely, a defined jaw.
Right.
Maybe a bell pepper nose that was chiseled down to nothing.
Yes.
Roughly.
Yes. So very angular. So yes, a sharp jawline. This person is very thin.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say like a jaw like Jocko's, or more thin.
No, more thin. More thin, angular, a little less Jocko, a little more Gerard Depardieu.
I don't know who that is.
Or Snidely Whiplash.
Little Snidely Whiplash.
Are you drawing Iron Man?
Or Dudley Do-Right. Okay, so I would say this. So very, God.
What about the nose?
Very chiseled features. The nose,
Yeah.
is almost not one.
So thin.
It's a very thin,
Very thin.
very
Thin and
small,
long.
thin nose. Like picture someone who had a nose, maybe a nose job, who had too many, and then it got too small. Like someone who might need this to hit the
Thin.
high notes.
I got to say, this is
No.
getting pretty close.
Yes.
He's actually not that far off.
bad.
What? Okay, what about the eyes? Big, small, squinty.
Lifeless. So I would say lifeless until a child might walk into the room, but I don't think this picture was taken at this point.
No
so right
kids.
now it's that of disappointment. But I would say they're not super round, a little almond shaped, kind of like when a dog is happy. The guy's eyes aren't wide.
Like happy
eyeliner,
watching.
a little bit.
A cross between high
Is it
and
a woman?
excited.
This looks like Cruella de Vil.
It's not
Not too
It's
far.
not a
Not too far.
woman.
It's not a woman.
The hair is, I don't know if you would say it's so this person is wearing a black fedora, and a red button-down shirt.
Like Corey Feldman might wear.
Right.
Yeah,
Ooh, okay.
like a fedora like Corey Feldman might wear, and a red button-down shirt, a black fedora, and coming out is kind of The man has long hair. It's kind of a mullet, but it's longer in the front than you would
I
expect.
would say like a soul glow.
Like a soul glow.
Yeah, yeah.
So long
Like
hair,
an
Jerry curl
Yeah.
up in there.
Jerry
like
curl, yeah.
not like a surfer kind of.
Oh, I don't think the joints would be able to handle it.
No, probably not.
All right, so you described the.
I mean,
I'm not gonna draw the hat, but
Maybe
you're saying
curlier
long hair.
hair.
Kind of curly, wavy
Yeah,
hair. Curly, like not like tight curls, but it's black hair that is somewhat curly. Think like an 80s sort of kind of
80s rock and roll.
yeah,
little
not a
melody.
surfer, but might wrestle a kid on a waterbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Might just want to curl up with some hot cocoa and go through Home Alones 1 through 7.
And their parents are staying 6 miles away at the nearest hotel.
Yeah.
What about
true.
eyebrows?
true. Pencil
Angry.
thin.
Well, they're
Pencil.
artificial.
Yeah, artificial.
Artificial eyebrows. So they're thin and angular. Thin and angular. Again,
Like-
everything is very angular. Everything is very sharp. This person keeps in shape.
But sharp,
The
like
methamphetamine.
like angry sharp.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. You are
actually
getting very,
very
very
spot on.
close. Actually,
Not so much in shape as has enough pills in them to not be able to eat food or keep it down.
Yeah, that's true.
really to not require it.
No, really.
Really not required. It's,
None whatsoever.
I would almost describe this perp as a marvel of science.
Very much so. Did
Yeah,
you just put a
You were
butt
getting
on that
close.
person's
I know
chin?
who this is.
Okay.
See if I did it.
They're smiling because if it is who I think it is, there is a kid in the room right now.
Really? Are you putting a kid in the room?
No, that's I would not incriminate myself. I am
Okay,
a
you wouldn't
police
incriminate
officer.
yourself.
right,
No,
right.
yeah,
You
of
would
course.
not want to be.
Yeah.
You might come into the house with the parents to get a settlement.
I think some parents ask for that up front.
Oh, yeah,
though.
they do.
Yeah.
There's a down payment.
But then do the right thing when HBO comes calling and the statute of limitations is one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
right.
true. Yes.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
often when one has their come to Jesus moment.
Very true. Yes.
It's got to be Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
There
but
you
for
go.
some reason you drew it as a Scooby-Doo villain now. You were closer to Michael Jackson before you knew it was Michael Jackson.
Something about the lips. It's
I
not quite there.
always remember him with this really weird butt chin that
Yeah.
just looked
Yeah.
like the
You nailed the butt
plastic
chin, I think.
surgeon
Yeah.
hated him.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
That's
Christ.
also what he would convince the kids was his butt.
Yeah, he also.
It's just my chin. I don't think so. Yeah, who knows the difference? Like the haunted house when you turn off the lights and you tell the kid that the meatballs are eyes.
Yeah, it's like it. It's not.
So bad, but it's a chin.
What's the fun? What's the fun of riding a Ferris wheel when you can't sit down? You know?
Oh yeah.
All right,
Took
so
Philip on him.
All right, let's finish this up.
If
here.
something's
Right,
wrong with the
Macaulay?
lips, it's got to be something.
Yeah, let's finish up the lips here because
Yeah.
and you know what? Here's the good thing: is this man is a well-known criminal,
Yes, he is.
Alleged.
Alleged.
alleged
yeah,
criminal,
alleged.
Come
alleged
on.
Smooth criminal.
smooth
Very.
criminal.
He's a pedophile rapist, guys.
Come on, well, no, listen. We
The
can
words
never
of Norm MacDonald's
say
a homosexual pedophile.
homosexual pedophile rapist Michael Jackson. He's a staring at the boy in the mirror.
Isn't that what he got canned for? Isn't that right?
Yeah, they said,
McDowell?
please don't make fun of OJ or Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So he called him a homosexual pedophile and then made a
Just
joke where he just called OJ
Yeah,
a
he just
murderer.
called him a
Yeah.
murderer, and that's why he got fired.
I love it.
I want to see the
love
original
it.
drafts of
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's songs because it's all about like loving women, and it's
Yeah.
it's just like you really it don't matter if you're 6 or 5.
I know, right? There's like an editor like, no, no.
We have to adapt this.
Nope, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul Anka.
Could you just go ahead and change all the boys to women?
Yeah,
I don't have the time.
and change all the creepy stuff where I'm committing felonies to just cuddly. Okay, all right, we'll do that. You want some Jesus juice? I do not want Xanax.
No.
No, it's a bad idea.
Dissolved in red wine in a Diet Coke can, but I believe there's a 6-year-old who does. Oh, Macaulay must be here.
He just wants me to go on tour with him, Ma. That
Just
makes
fly around the
sense.
world.
And don't
friend.
touch the chimpanzee. He was expensive, but he is pissed.
He will bite.
He will. Did you ever know about that chimpanzee? Was like an animal in captivity. Became hyperly aggressive.
What was the same? You know, it was the old Navy chimp in Connecticut that they gunned down in the driveway.
That was Michael's.
No, it wasn't
was a different
Michael's.
one.
It was the old Navy one though that would sit in the car on the commercials.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, and then she got it and was like, you know what chimps like? Wine and
Wine
fat."
Xanax.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ate her face.
And then they had a fight over the remote.
Yes, well, no, somebody was like, here's a banana cake, and then it ripped her face off.
Pretty tough when you go from a fine burgundy
It's true.
Banana cake's just not going to do it.
Yeah, it's not
She
gonna
had
work.
the first face transplant, and boy, did it look like the first.
All right, let's see Michael Jackson. Let's see this here. You got it right. You guessed. It's like Guess Who, only
we
incriminating.
go.
Thank you very much, Smooth Manny. This has been Smooth Manny, the police catch artist. I feel like this was a fun show. Got off to a rough start.
Yeah,
Quarter
a little
Black
bit.
Garrett.
Hey,
Well,
you know.
YouTube's fault.
Okay, let's go to some chat.
I feel like you should say chat with the walk-in voice. I think it would just fit.
It's time. Let's go to chat.
Much better.
Save that. That's the intro.
I
now.
never
We're
used to
gonna-
use chat.
Can I turn?
The smoke parliaments. I don't. Okay.
I kept them. I kept a pack of cigarettes up my ass.
And I found out that's not what it's for. Turns out it's your chin. I don't know why we're talking chat. Christopher Walken. I have no idea.
Well, you say the word chat, and I'm like, it just should be in the walk-in voice.
It does
just
sound
fits-
walk-in-y.
It's better.
Chat.
Yeah, there you go.
It sounds fun.
Okay, no,
Do
you've
we
done
need
it
a stinger
Good.
now?
No, I don't think we need.
We
to
should.
we need a stinger.
need
And
a
then,
walk-in
for some
chat
reason, I
stinger.
went into. I don't know why it always makes Token Allen laugh, but in the morning when I call him, like at 5 in the morning, I just do that. I say, "Hey, Betty, I do the Jack Black, Betty. You're working on the show, Matt, Betty. You're the best, and it's not the drugs talking, Betty. It's not the drugs."
You hear that on the phone? It's uncanny. It's
Like, am I talking to Jack Black?
I've never heard.
Steven's
a Jack
like,
Black
how do I
impression.
soften a 5 a.m. phone call? Checking up on you.
Like, that was really no. I'm impressed though, for real.
I just,
Very
you know
good.
what, I used to have a bit about a celebrity cruise ship going down with different, and it was Johnny Boy's favorite bit, and I just
Yeah.
always felt like it was such a, because you always feel like with impressions in stand-up, it's so hard to fit it in.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
what would it seem like if Albert and Neil were cutting a zucchini? Or something like that.
If you have that awful Rich Little setup.
Yeah, oh my God.
no.
He does a fantastic Nixon.
Yeah, I like that
Can
it's
someone
timely.
get me a 50 cal?
Yeah.
I remember, that,
This is Dudley Moore at the Nixon's office. You're like, what is this?
What year am I
I don't
in?
understand.
yeah.
Stop
and he's
it.
not even doing Dudley Moore. He's like, I am Arthur. Wow, this is horrible. I actually here's the worst part. I got bumped for Rich Little.
What?
Where?
Sean Hannity's Freedom Tour.
Oh, well, you dodged a bullet there, it seems.
That whole sentence.
So that I didn't resonate with the audience.
Oh, you were funny.
Oh my
got it.
lord.
I've taken a lot of hits in my day.
Oh no.
Any idea how soul crushing that is? At 23.
You're like, I'm sorry, who?
Yeah.
Is there
No,
another
it's
one?
Well, Frank Trevelino wasn't available, so sorry, we went Rich Little.
You got
Who else
little-
was after him? Corpse of Milton Berle, you.
Okay, so I was close.
I'm sorry, Henny Youngman is not going to be able to bring you on the Gutfeld tour.
By the way, do you have a line of contact for Phyllis Diller?
Is she?
Yeah.
She's still up in Spry, yes?
We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Call your people. All right, let's go to chat.
all right. Zone Palmer has an easy question for you. Why shoulder carry?
You know what? Actually, I just do it because it's comfortable to carry here in the office. So I carry it in the office and around my house. And it started with, we were going to do an open carry walk in Austin.
Yeah.
And we didn't end up doing it because that was the Garrett Foster thing. Remember, everyone wanted to
That's
kill
right.
us.
Oh, yeah.
People were trying to kill us in the
Happens.
city of Austin, so we had to get the hell out of Dodge. And
All of the hobos
yes,
got together.
yeah,
so we couldn't do
it's hard to differentiate the hobos. And
It is very hard.
It
yeah.
is. Yeah.
That's just they just get a bunch of hobos to yell out, "I am Antifa," and then you don't know.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
knows?
But I always want to do an open because I will say this. My goal with this show, what I do, obviously it's to be entertaining. It's an entertainment show. But as it relates to my point of view, as it relates to my beliefs, my conservatism, right, my worldview, I want to create as many other disciples, Christians, conservatives, good men, good women, happy people as humanly possible, right? I want to make it as accessible as humanly possible. And so I feel like with firearms, you often have either the open carry people who go out there with the most, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. I have no problem with these people. It is their right, and I understand the value in it, but I think that we only have kind of two groups of people. People who go out with the intimidating plate carriers, the AR-15s or the AK-47s and their ski goggles, and they say it's my right, and it is their right, and then you have people who are really afraid of it. And so I said, I want to go and do an open carry, but I want to do an open carry walk the way I would want most people to open carry, and that would be, something on your hip. So some of us had hip holsters, and I said, I'll put on a shoulder holster because for some reason, I don't know why, you add some leather and steel, and it's less intimidating to people than like a black polymer gun because people don't know. They assume black polymer is scary. It's a 50 cal. So it started with that, and then I realized it was just really comfortable. And when I came home, my wife she was a demon.
I think this is really the answer.
This is really the answer.
It came all the way back around to the
I come home, and if my wife isn't there, and I put my firearm on my desk, I do it louder. That's like Treats with Joe Lewis, and just my wife. She just comes calling. So
absolutely.
No, that's a big part of it. Is we wanted to do it, and we will do that eventually. I want more people, and I want more Americans to be, in a good way, desensitized to open carrying. I want Americans to. When I lived in Michigan, I lived in a town where a lot of people open carried.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them were hunters too, and it's not a big deal. But you never see those people. They're not open carrying with plate carriers and AR-15s.
Yeah.
They're walking around. A lot of them will have long guns, but you see a lot of people with revolvers on their hip, especially if they're going out hunting and maybe it's like bear season. So that's why. That's really all it is I want it to be visible and I want it to not be scary.
You look like a detective in like a 1960s movie.
That's the role I play.
I don't want to hear these things.
Sometimes when we get really kinky.
Oh, no.
She steals my first class seat.
And you have to earn it back.
All right, another chat. My wife is not happy about this.
No, not at all.
This one's from Gwen Roberts. Hey, Crowder just signed up for MugClub. My boyfriend thinks it's us against the politicians instead of right against left. What are your thoughts?
No. I find it's funny because this often comes from people who are like, "Oh man, they just want to keep you sheep," and that's why they use these broad generalizations like right versus left, and then they just go people versus politicians. Well, look, what gives you a more accurate snapshot of what someone believes? If they identify as conservative, or if they identify as liberal, or if they happen to be a politician or not. There are some great politicians who we agree with on a whole lot. And I understand that the system corrupts. I understand that obviously a lot of these people look out for their own self-interest. But I don't understand these people. I don't want to put we put labels on things all the time. And I don't want to hide from look, I'm conservative. I've already taken the hits for it. I was talking with Dave about this yesterday. Unfortunately, conservatives, we're talking about Rich Little, they never really appreciated comedy and entertainment. So I was a little bit of a redheaded stepchild there. And then a lot of comedians never really understood how unsafe it has always been to have right-wing views in the entertainment industry. They would always say,
well,
as long as
closeted.
Right, it's closeted. Yeah. But they would just say, as long as it's funny. I go, no, that's not true.
No, managers wouldn't even represent you in some cases. I
had my agents drop me. Yeah, I had my agents drop me, and I got into trouble. This is in 2005 and 2006. I had clubs. That's so they wouldn't book me anymore. And it wasn't even dirty. So anyway, my point is, no, it's not us versus politicians. You really just do. If you're always going to have to make some kind of a label. That's why labels exist. You're always going to have to make some generalizations to make a judgment call. So you should make them based on values, based on principles, and lining people up that way rather than their job. Because then you end up with kind of class warfare where business owners are all bad. Look, I don't think everyone who works on Wall Street is bad. I don't think that they need to pay astronomical taxes. I just think they need to be held to the same rules as every other American. That's my worldview. So if someone understands and agrees with that worldview and happens to work in finance, I consider him an ally. If he happens to be a politician, I consider him an ally. If the politician believes that I should have to pay an $800 insurance fee and my address should be publicly posted to Antifa just because I own a Walther, well, then it's me against that first-class seat-stealing politician.
Succinct.
There you go.
I like it, yeah.
Another one more chat.
And thank you for joining MugClub, by the way.
Thank you so much, by the
fantastic.
way. Yeah, and I understand what your husband is saying, and or your boyfriend is saying. I understand that. Look, it does feel like the deck is stacked against you, and there is validity to being disappointed in Republicans, politicians across the board.
Understood.
They're mostly useless. Yeah. All right, final chat. Make it a good one there, Tokenawan.
Okay, I got a good one for you. Andrew Breitbart's birthday was this week, and Bob Loblaw wants to know, what do you think he would say to you about current events if he was still alive?
I posted something about that on Instagram. We were just talking about this yesterday. Yeah. You asked me if I think you asked me if I knew Andrew.
Yeah, because I obviously saw The Sign, and Righteous Indignation was one of the first books that I read from a conservative author.
Right. What did you think of the book?
I loved it.
Yeah. This is before the cancel culture thing or social justice warrior was a term, but Andrew kind of knew how to identify the leftist culture.
Well, and I related a lot to him as when he was young.
Right.
And he kind of explains the progression of just himself and just going from a kid with a certain forced ideology to starting to see a different picture. And he really does explain it beautifully all the way to working for the Huffington Post. Mm-hmm. And, everything that he put in there it's a really good read for anybody.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before, but not only did I know Andrew, Andrew was the first person to RSVP at my wedding.
That's what you said. Yeah, it was a crazy answer I got.
He was looking into property in Western Michigan.
Oh, really?
Because he said this is the first place for my kids for summer. There are lakes in California, but not. I didn't know what this was, and they put down their phone. It's like this wonderland. Like he loved it, and I told him he was going to love it, and he loved the people there in Western Michigan. But I will tell you this: I wouldn't be doing any of this if not for Andrew Breitbart. Andrew Breitbart was an accidental. It was just an incidental lifeline. What happened was. I think at this point, I had been doing acting and stand-up since I had been very young. And I just done some films, and I didn't get paid a whole lot. And at this point, there wasn't really a lot of work. We were after pilot season, and my parents said, you better get a job then at this point. And I didn't want to wait tables. And I said, look, here's what I'm going to do. I have enough money from the last thing that I filmed. I'm going to do YouTube now, and I'm going to treat it like a full-time job. Do it for 6 months. I have enough runway for 6 months. And it turned out that then I didn't need it after 3 months. I knew that I could do it. And I messaged people. This is back when YouTube had direct messages. I would message people. There were no conservative channels. But I would find channels that were like pro-firearm channels, or I would find channels that were former military channels and say like, hey, you might like my content. And I got to 10,000 subscribers. So I was treating it like a full-time job because I realized that I didn't play well with others in the entertainment industry. I've told this story. I was on a show called Greek where we got into it over South Park, and the guy did not like me, the director.
The ABC Family Show?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah, what's funny is I had a character, if you go on IMDb, called Jace. It was supposed to have a multi-episode arc, and it could have just been named Drunken Frat Guy Number 2,
right?
Because they called and complained immediately afterwards. And I know it was because of a very specific conversation we had about South Park and liberals, because the guy was a fan of South Park, and I thought he was one of us. And he wasn't.
No.
The irony was lost on him.
Oops.
Yeah, he doesn't get South Park.
No, he doesn't get South Park. Yeah. And he thought I didn't get South Park, and that turned into something even more hostile.
Oh, he's not going to like Trey's views.
No, he is not. So what happened was I heard Andrew Breitbart on Dennis Miller's show, and I was listening. This was back before really podcasts. I would tune in to I knew there was a station in Texas because I had done stand-up at the Cap City Comedy Club. And so I knew that Dennis Miller was on the station, so I would listen to Dennis Miller almost every day, his radio show, and I heard Andrew Breitbart on the show. And this was before it was Breitbart, the trademark. It was, he couldn't get the website Breitbart or BigHollywood.com. The reason his name was included was because he wanted to get BigHollywood.com. Andrew's first project, and he was talking about this on Dennis Miller's show, was Big Hollywood. He had to get the URL breitbart.bighollywood.com because Big Hollywood was already owned and someone was sitting on it. And it was a place for conservatives in Hollywood to speak. And then it kind of turned into bloggers who were conservative to write about Hollywood. But the first writers there, obviously I remember Ben Shapiro, there was a guy named Gary Eaton, John Nolte. There were only a handful, Adam Baldwin. And I heard Andrew Breitbart on Dennis Miller's show, and it was just for me, kind of like you with his book. I said, this guy, well, that's what he's saying, that's what I am. And I had not really heard many people like that before.
Right.
And so I found his info and I called him, and he treated me like I was the senior booker for Bill O'Reilly. He spoke with me for 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
He hung up, and then I sent him a stand-up reel, and then he called back, and he said, well, I know, I see it, and I understand what you're doing is kind of touchy, kind of cholo voice. I said, no, Andrew, I was just showing you that I'm a stand-up comic. That's not what, I don't want to post this to the website. He's like, well, I already posted it.
Okay.
And I said, no, I wanted to write for the site. And then I will say I kind of forced his hand. I started doing these YouTube videos. And what I just did was I said to the editor there, I said, look, hey, here's what I'm going to do. At the end of the YouTube video, I'm going to put Big Hollywood up there as a credit. And well, that way I kind of promote you, you kind of promote me. And, and they were like, you don't have to do it. Like, I already did it, so post the video. And so it sort of forced them to support me. But it became popular. And then at that point, Michelle Malkin started posting things at Hot Air. And because of that, I had enough, back then, 15,000 views on YouTube was a ton.
Yeah.
And then that took me to a company, PJTV, where I actually met my wife. And that took me to Fox News for 4.5 years. And I never actually worked for or with Andrew. I just worked alongside him. I was always I would just contribute whenever I felt like it. It was an open door. We were friends. We were colleagues, and he was incredibly supportive. And I remember him having a conversation one time with me about doing my due diligence before storming the castle. And he really understood what leftism was because he lived in that world. He was from Los Angeles. So he had his finger to the pulse of it, and he didn't hate anybody. That was also something, too. People talk about happy warrior. I watched Andrew, and look, Andrew obviously made some mistakes, and him and I had our differences, but Andrew really believed in what he did. And Andrew changed the media landscape forever. I'm not talking about Breitbart the trademark. I'm talking about Andrew Breitbart the man.
Yeah.
And it was an uphill struggle. It was an uphill struggle. Not a lot of people. He was persona non grata there at Fox News when Bill O'Reilly screwed the pooch at one point. Bill O'Reilly edited the Shirley Sherrod tape out of context, and then when she got fired, blamed Andrew Breitbart. But Andrew Breitbart uploaded the Shirley Sherrod tape where she said something racist in the tape, and people clapped. And then later on, she said, I learned that it was racist and that shouldn't be about black versus white. So Andrew Breitbart wrote this article. This is and let me know if this is making sense here, but this is something that was a really rough period in Andrew Breitbart's life. And it really went a long way. This was formative for me to see someone redeem himself between these years leading up to Anthony Weiner. So he did the Acorn stuff. He won some lawsuits. He had built his website up. He became persona non grata, and I watched everyone turn their back on him, including people who had gotten their jobs at Fox News because of Andrew Breitbart. And I got my job indirectly as a contributor because of Andrew Breitbart, because he put my name in, okay? So I owe him a lot. And a lot of other people owed him a lot. They turned their backs on him. And that, for me, made me kind of, okay, mark some folks. All right, I understand it. You wouldn't have what you have without Andrew Breitbart. And now you threw him under the bus for optics. You didn't even think he was wrong. Here's what happened. Andrew Breitbart had a video. I remember Shirley Sherrod. You might be able to find it. She was a black lady, head of some kind of agricultural department. This is years ago. So she was giving a speech to the NAACP. Andrew Breitbart uploaded this post to, I think this was Big Government at this point, biggovernment.com. And again, it was before it was Breitbart. It was just biggovernment.com. And it's her saying, I did not help the white farmer as much as I would help the black farmer. And the NAACP audience clapped and goes, hey! And Andrew Breitbart in the post at Big Government, in this post, said now, if you fast forward to whatever it is, 27 minutes in, she does talk about how she learned the lesson that it wasn't about white versus black. It was about helping those in need, and her humanity did eventually get the best of her. But that doesn't change the audience reaction when she said something racist.
Right.
His focus was the NAACP clapping at racism before they hear the redemption.
Yeah.
It'd be like people clapping at Ebenezer Scrooge saying, are there no prisons? Are there no poorhouses? Before you watch the third act. Andrew Breitbart was very clear about that. Bill O'Reilly runs the video on his show. One of his editors cuts it just at that part, no context, and says, and Shirley Sherrod basically saying that she's a racist. I don't know why she's still allowed to have a job. She gets fired because of the outrage.
Unbelievable.
And then liberals say, why you're taking it out of context? Look, she said that her humanity got the best of her and it wasn't about racism. And Bill O'Reilly goes on air, and a lot of people at Fox News, and they go, this kind of gotcha journalism is just as disgusting to us from the right as when the left does it. And Andrew Breitbart, you should know better. He did know better. He posted it. These people weren't willing to take responsibility for the fact that they wanted a sexier story, and they took the quote out of context. And so he became persona non grata. He wasn't on Fox News for years.
Yeah.
And people who had jobs because of him didn't throw out a lifeline, didn't support him. And I remember he was going through a pretty rough grind because he knew he was right, and he knew that they knew he was right. And at that point, what happened? Everyone would use it as a verb. They would say, oh, Breitbart. It was a lie. It was a lie. But they'd say, Breitbart, gotcha journalism, Breitbart. To the point where when Anthony Weiner, this happened, right? All these, I think it was a couple of years. Then the Anthony Weiner saga happens. Andrew Breitbart, at this point, says, I have these naked pictures from Anthony Weiner, right? These stories have been going out. What does the media do? The media goes, oh, yeah, you're going to believe this, Anthony Weiner, because they were planning on him running for office. They said it was false. They said the story wasn't true. Andrew Breitbart, and even Alec Baldwin said, this has a whiff of Breitbart about it. I remember him tweeting that. So he tried to turn it into a verb to discredit Andrew, and there were complicit people at Fox News on the right, to the point where Andrew said, look, I have the pictures from Anthony. I have the pictures from Anthony Weiner. I'd rather not release them as to not destroy his family publicly. But you have to stop raking my name through the mud. I remember him saying that, and they kept saying lies, lies, lies. Anthony Weiner was holding a press conference. I think it was at the Omni. I don't remember. It was there. It was on C-SPAN. And he was about to go out there publicly with all of his sycophants in the press, just like you see today, no accountability, and say, this is a smear campaign from Andrew Breitbart. And everyone would go, of course, Breitbart, and dismiss it. These pieces were already pre-written and approved. This is what was going to happen. And someone yelled out through the hallways, Andrew Breitbart's in the building. You can read about it. It is bone-chilling. And he went up on that podium and said, I have the pictures. And if immediately Anthony Weiner does not apologize and acknowledge the smear campaign and the attacks on my character, I will release them. I would rather not release them. And Anthony Weiner crumpled up his script and went out and admitted fault and apologized. But I watched Andrew Breitbart have all of his friends turn their back, not all of them, but a lot of them, turn their backs on him for political expediency and for optics. And that was important for me to watch. It was important for me to see that triumph, because then everyone wanted to be Andrew's friend, and that came with a whole bunch of other problems sometimes where, your star rises too quickly, and I wish that he would have been able to take care of himself better. But Andrew Breitbart was someone who, it's not just something I put on my resume, because I've never put it on my resume. He was a man who had a really significant impact on my life, and he's had a more significant impact on all of your lives. Thanks for ruining the moment.
I know, I totally ruined it.
He's had more of a significant impact on everyone's lives out there than you probably even know. And so I would recommend you read his book, Righteous Indignation, if you can. And what I love about him is he's not perfect. He was a character. He's lost in some ways trying to do the right thing, and loved people, really loved people, and did a lot of good. So Andrew, I miss him, and what do you think about today? Listen, I think you could probably guess. It wouldn't be that hard. Andrew was an open book. What do you think Andrew Breitbart lived to burn down the media establishment? I do think that Andrew Breitbart, if he were alive, would be in a very different situation with big tech. I think that Andrew Breitbart would be one of the few people out there who would actually be filing lawsuits like we are, and actually trying to hold politicians accountable rather than lip service and trying to maintain their own platforms. I think Andrew Breitbart probably would have been a lot more. And I would like to think, I talk about this sometimes, I'd like to think that he'd be proud of what I built, but I don't know. You never know. Doesn't matter. There's still a lot of things that he did right that I want to emulate, and even some things that I don't want to emulate. But that was formative for me. Seeing him be shit on, be betrayed, people turn their backs on him, and seeing him win. Because in real life, the good guy doesn't always get ahead, doesn't always win. And he did. Hey, this is the part where I would say, if you like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, or comment down below. But none of that really matters, because you probably can't. So just bookmark this page. Check it every day. We have a live show Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, because nothing else works. And everything in 2021 is awful. Isn't that right, Dave?
Yep.